But when someone makes a transformational gift, it opens the eyes, I think, of other donors who are like, oh, something's going on there that I want to see, and maybe I want to be part of. And that's kind of how these gifts kind of manifested themselves. I mean, yes, we've had relationships. Yes, we've had conversations with these particular families, but they haven't really thought of themselves for this project.
Welcome to the Abundant Vision Fundraising Podcast. Whether you are a seasoned professional or a first-time fundraiser, we have the advice you need to take your next step toward major gift mastery. I'm your host, Tom Dauber, President of Abundant Vision Philanthropic Consulting. In our last episode, Jim Mahoney, Vice President of Advancement at Adrian College, shared with us about his experiences overcoming some of the common mistakes and challenges so many of us experience as fundraisers, especially around donor visits. Today, we are going to pick up where we left off with Jim as he talks about some of the top gifts he's closed during his career, along with some helpful fundraising advice. So let's dive right back into the conversation with Jim Mahoney. So tell me, you've had a nice long career here, Jim. You've been raising money for a long time. Could you share with us about some of your career highlights in terms of gift closures? What gifts are you most proud of? How did those opportunities develop? That sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I would say probably one of my first major gifts I ever closed, like transformational gifts. I was at the College of Dentistry, and I remember I was in Canton, Ohio. And I met with this dentist who I developed a really nice relationship with, had been making annual gifts at kind of the President's Club level that was $2,500 back in the day. I have no idea what it is now at OSU, but
it's more. That's one thing I'm sure of.
I'm sure. And I remember meeting with this dentist, and he was incredibly grateful to his parents. And when he made this gift, which ended up being $100,000, he did it in his parents' name, recognizing his parents. And I just thought, like, man, that is like such a cool, and he was an older gentleman too. And yet he was still just so appreciative for the sacrifice his parents made for him to get into the position that he was in. And so I always thought that was a really cool one. That was my first $100,000 gift. I had another gift of $500,000 at OSU, and I'm thinking you were there, Tom, but maybe you weren't quite yet. But I remember calling our colleague Rachel to tell her that she had to come pick me up at this restaurant because I was too scared to drive back to the college because I had this $500,000 check in my hand that was for the Ohio project, and a project for to help students down at,
I remember that one.
Mobile dental clinic that went to Appalachia, and just such a awesome project to help young kids in the school systems in Southeast Ohio who may not have had access to dentistry down there to really help these students out. And this woman was actually closing her sold her dental business and was a modest donor through the years, but she actually called me to have lunch with her, and she wrote this check at lunch.
Wow.
And to this day, I only had water to drink at this lunch, so it wasn't because I had too much to drink that I couldn't, that I needed someone to come pick me up, but I was so scared about having this check in my hand.
Right.
I remember calling Rachel and saying, you need to come get me at, Bravo or wherever we were at having lunch.
Oh, right.
So those are two really cool ones at OSU. I've been very fortunate the last couple years here to, I've closed a $5 million gift and a $2 million gift within the last year.
You guys had like a record year last year, didn't you?
Yeah, it's been through a lot of hard work, but also just, again, developing these relationships and truly having projects that inspire individuals to be a part of. And that's where, I give our president, our board of trustees a ton of, credit and kudos for, because, we could sit back and say, yeah, we've done a lot of great things, but we continue to look for ways to change higher ed and make Adrian, as the best possible small private liberal arts college that we can. So, I really do think it's opened some of our donors who have been very generous in the past, but we're starting to get these transformational gifts that we've never received before. I mean, before I got here, I think Adrian may have had like $1 million gift or more.
Yeah.
And, we have just really been the beneficiaries of some amazing gifts the last few years through very, very generous alumni and friends of the college. And this couple that gave the $5 million, awesome couple, again, started an endowed scholarship a couple years ago, have been very blessed in their, professional lives to be able to do something like that. Their children are behind this gift, 100%. And we're going to be able to build a facility on this campus that truly rival any other college.
Wow.
So, and then we were able to engage with another family, and they committed a $2 million gift. And then shortly thereafter, I met with this alum in Fort Wayne, and he committed a $500,000 gift to this project. And his biggest gift before that was $2,000.
Yeah.
So, again, you just don't know, because you don't know what project is going to really kind of tug at the heartstrings, or someone's going to be like, wow, this is truly what I believe in, and I want to back. And so, yeah, we've had some pretty nice gifts, and it's been a lot of fun to watch these donors just have a lot of pride and passion in making these gifts.
Well, there's a thing. There's a client of mine that I've been helping on a $60 million solicitation. And one of the big conversations we've been having is, okay, so let's say we close this. What is that momentum going to create in the minds and hearts of other alumni who maybe have more potential but haven't really stepped up yet? How's it going to change their view of the university to say, "Ooh, this is the sort of place that can handle a 7-figure or 8-figure sort of gift," right? I'll bet you're seeing a lot of that with these folks.
Truly, and again, cliche, but people like to give the winners, and I think
That's right.
Truly, and I don't mean that like, oh, we're winning at whatever. It just means they see success, and they see positive momentum, and they see, especially at an Adrian where. And you could kind of supplant Adrian with Capital University or Wittenberg or Otterbein. I mean, it doesn't matter, or any other small private college across the country for that matter.
2024 could be the year you start a major gift program at your nonprofit. This means more money to help your organization serve more people and better fundraising ROI too. Starting a major gift fundraising program takes some planning and some work to make sure you are ready for that first solicitation. Fortunately for you, I've got a free online class where I walk you through the top 20 questions you need to answer before starting a major gift program, all in under 15 minutes. Knowing these questions and spending the time to get to your answers will go a long way toward helping you close your very first gift. Now, if you want this free resource, all you need to do is visit my online school at thomas-dauber-s-school.teachable.com. That's thomas-dauber-s-school.teachable.com. The link is in the podcast description.
But when someone makes a transformational gift, it opens the eyes, I think, of other donors who are like, oh, something's going on there that I want to see, and maybe I want to be part of. And that's kind of how these gifts kind of manifested themselves. I mean, yes, we've had relationships. Yes, we've had conversations with these particular families, but they haven't really thought of themselves and, maybe for this project. And the other thing is too, the largest donor to Adrian College up until this last $5 million gift, this This individual had a very successful career again. Our ice arena is named after him. Our bookstore is named after him. And he made amazing gifts. Unfortunately, he passed away during COVID. Um, but during his lifetime here, he made some amazing gifts. And never once, Tom, he thought he was a major donor. Never once. And when you would say to him, wow, Dr. Harrington, this is, and I have no problem saying his name because he's an amazing guy, but, wow, this is a major gift here. And he said, I'm just trying to do my part to help. Yeah. And he never thought of himself as a major gift donor here or a transformational gift donor here. And he made gifts that, he has a scholarship here that has helped hundreds of students, hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah, he just never thought of himself like that. So, these types of gifts, I think, and when individuals, families, whomever make them, they just see, yeah, I know and I can trust that the college is going to do right with this gift. And either if it's build a facility or start a scholarship or endow a faculty line, whatever it is, it's through that trust and that relationship building that someone feels like, okay, I'm giving to, something that or someone or an institution that's going to do really, really good by this.
Oh, yeah, that's a wonderful point. So what advice would you have, Jim, for early career fundraisers? What should they be focusing on as they grow their fundraising skills? And don't say, go ask someone whom you know is going to turn them down.
First, chief among them, I would say, I don't care if you're working for Research One, huge university, or small private college like us. Get to know your colleagues, get to know your campus, get to know go and introduce yourself to as many people as you possibly can and build partnerships all across the campus. Because you don't know when, you're going to be with a donor and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, I'm really interested in, the geology department. And if you can at least have like some knowledge about what that department, what that area of campus is doing, I mean, it could be really, really beneficial. And so get to know not just whoever's going to be in your portfolio, but get to know your campus, get to know your colleagues here, make friends with your colleagues. I really try to meet with as many faculty as I can here, even our new faculty, to let them know like I'm a resource. I'm an advocate. I'm a partner for things that you want to get done on campus. And so I would say, make that a priority as soon as you start somewhere. And then, I would say, don't be afraid to make cold calls. Don't be afraid to get out from behind your desk. Go and travel and meet as many people as you possibly can that are part of your constituency. And it's it just is so important to like not be kind of get past that nervous that feeling of picking up the phone. Close your door if you need to. Go if you're using your cell phone, go to a part of campus where there's not a lot of people if you're afraid to, with your phone voice, as we used to say.
Right.
But kind of get past that fear of making those introductory calls. Yeah, email's great. Emails can really help solidify appointments, but don't be afraid to like really just like pick up that phone and or get out from behind your desk and have those conversations.
Yeah, that's very valuable advice, Jim. As the chief development officer at the dental school, you were obviously working with the dean.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now you support a president in fundraising, and you've been doing that for nearly 20 years, I'd say. We've got a number of executive directors and presidents today in our listening audience. What advice would you give to nonprofit executives, people that are kind of in the leadership, not necessarily mainly focused on fundraising, right? We've got those folks. What advice would you give to those types of people who don't have a fundraising background? How can they work more effectively with their chief development officer? And what should they be doing to drive fundraising?
Hmm. Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think, not to be cliche again, but there's flexibility in this answer too.
Yeah.
But having, an open line of communication and partnership needs to be just really crystal clear from the beginning. I have a one-on-one with my president. It usually works out to like every week and a half. I mean, I know that sounds odd, but it's like, it's not quite it's not every week, but it's not every 2 weeks either. I mean, there's kind of in between. And we use a lot of that time to strategize over prospects. And so
Yeah.
the thing where, when I traveled with the dean at the College of Dentistry, he always wanted a development officer with him, at least when I was there.
Yeah.
And he felt more comfortable with one of us being there during those conversations. And that's great. My president here doesn't need me to be on his side, on his arm, as his, wingman, for every single development meeting that he has. He's fully capable and competent, and has more pressing than both of those is he has just the confidence in that he can have that relationship and make that ask if that is where the part of the relationship is at. And so, working together, having a structured time where you can have those conversations and those strategy sessions, which is hard to do on a president's calendar.
Right.
It's tough to get that. But if the president or the executive director or whomever is the head of that organization can at least pencil in 10%, 20%, whatever it is of their time to do that, then it's up to us as the major gift officer, the chief development officer, whatever the title is, to educate and give what that president or executive director needs to be successful in his or her conversations with donors. And then just be totally upfront and honest. Like, do you want me to travel with you? Would you like me to set up trips with you? Would you like to travel with me? I mean, however that works, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I have colleagues all across the country who, some of them only do trips with their presidents.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I think I've been VP here for 12 years, maybe 13 years. I'm losing track of my time. I bet you I've only done 15 visits with my president.
Oh, wow.
But we talk all the time about who is the right person to talk to that constituent. Because some people want to see the president. Totally get it. I have zero ego in that.
Right.
Some people are, I've been around long enough where they're like, yeah, we can talk to Jim. That's fine. And that's fine. It's great. And so, but I think, making sure that there is a dedicated amount of time to talk about advancement development with your president, executive director, whomever, and then whoever's in charge of development, making sure that they have a informed agenda every single time and take advantage of every minute that president is allotted for you.
Learning to work with your CEO, dean, or president is one of a fundraiser's toughest but most important assignments. It's so valuable for our listeners to get your insights on approaches that have helped you find success there. But I know there's still some more wisdom you have to share with us. So we're going to end it here today and pick back up next week with you to learn a little bit more from your years of experience as a fundraising leader. As always, I'm your host, Tom Dauber. Thank you for joining me as we journey together toward major gift mastery on the Abundant Vision Fundraising Podcast.